From a teenager in Wisconsin who jumped out a second-story window, and an inmate in a wheelchair that literally got up and outran the police, to a bold suspect in Indiana that narrowly escaped under a closing garage door, and much more. Here are some of the craziest moments when suspects escaped police custody. March 7th of 2022 was just another day for this officer in Little Rock, Arkansas. His assignment that day was to escort 41-year-old Joel Sanchez Delgado to the county courthouse to face drug trafficking charges. It should have been an easy job, as Delgado was in rough shape. He was wearing a neck brace and confined to a wheelchair, or so our officer thought.
Okay. Maybe your gas is saying hurt and maybe you can get out for it. What'd you say, OJ? My shoe. Hey, you see a shoe back there? Where is it? I'm gonna catch you, baby. I'm finna shoot your bitch ass. I ain't got my radio.
Delgado runs pretty fast for a guy in a wheelchair. According to reports, he is a lifelong criminal with felony convictions for theft, burglary, and firearms possession. He served time in Florida and Arkansas and had only gotten out of jail a few weeks before his wheelchair escape. Little Rock police had recently charged him with first-degree domestic battery after he allegedly shot his girlfriend in a McDonald's parking lot. Obviously, they wanted this dangerous criminal off the streets ASAP. If it meant asking the public for help, then so be it.
Nah, which way you go?
We went straight through the alley and cut that way.
What's your phone? My damn radio came out.
Hold on. Damn, bro, if I try to come behind you and get him.
I don't know where he went. Hey, Dad, what I need to dial?
They didn't sign the, what's the number?
501.
Yeah.
340 7050.
750?
Yeah. What was his name?
I don't know the white boy name. Damn, I tried to get him.
Hello? Hey, Hook. The wheelchair dude got up and ran. Yeah. I couldn't catch his ass. And my radio was in the mother. I had my camera on, though. The wheelchair dude. I couldn't catch him, hell. Tim's had pulled off. Yeah. I can't even remember his name. He on the road.
Dejected, our officer walks back to the courthouse, where he knows his partner is about to make fun of him for letting Delgado run away. How was he supposed to know that this guy in a wheelchair was about to get up and run?
Hey, he took off, man. The wheelchair dude ran. He had a neck brace on and all that shit.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Didn't need that wheelchair very much, did he?
Hell no. Hey. Dude ran, man. Dude ran, man. Yeah, where my radio? Yes, he did. Dude ran? Yeah. What? He took off? Yeah, right straight up this street. Oh, yeah, man. What? You're doing the wheelchair ran? Dude took off. Yeah, the wheelchair dude.
Thankfully, Delgado's freedom didn't last much longer. Police caught up with him later that day and brought him back to jail. On top of drug charges and attempted murder, Delgado was also hit with felony escape. It's unclear what happened next, but we imagine he landed back behind bars. Vicky White and Casey White may share a last name, but the two are not related. He was a career criminal. She was a corrections officer at the Lauderdale County Jail in Alabama, the same jail housing Casey in 2022. On paper, Vicky and Casey were polar opposites, but, as they say, opposites attract. Vicky was a decorated officer who'd worked at the prison for 25 years. By 2022, she was the assistant director of corrections. Casey arrived at the jail in 2016 to serve a 75-year sentence for robbery and attempted murder. Something about Casey drew Vicky in. She requested one-on-one time with the inmate and began giving him preferential treatment. According to reports, Vicky had been divorced for a while by the time she met Casey. She must have been lonely and easily manipulated. On April 29th of 2022, these lovebirds pulled off one of the wildest prison break stories you'll ever hear. It began with Vicky telling her supervisors that she was taking Casey for a mental health evaluation. There, of course, was no such appointment. She positioned him by the door and then pulled up in a marked police car. CCTV cameras captured the moment when Vicky walked him out of the building in shackles. The next time cameras see Vicky and Casey, the police car is driving by a gas station about 8 minutes after they left the prison. A statewide manhunt ensued once police learned that Casey wasn't scheduled for any kind of mental health evaluation. According to police, Vicky was supposed to retire the day she helped Casey escape. A few days prior, she sold her 4-acre property for $90,000, about a third of what it was actually worth. Vicky and Casey drove to Evansville, Indiana, where they paid a homeless man $100 to rent a motel room for them. Along the way, they ditched the police car in exchange for a blue Ford F-150. Vicky also dyed her naturally blonde hair black to avoid detection on security cameras. But all good love stories eventually come to an end. Sadly, Vicky's ended in tragedy. Police caught up with them on May 9th and chased the duo across US 41. Casey was allegedly driving when he skidded onto a grassy field and flipped the car. When officers surrounded the vehicle, they learned Vicky had tried to take her own life with a shotgun. They rushed her to the hospital, but it was too late. She passed hours after the crash. As for Casey, police charged him with felony escape and first-degree murder for the death of Vicky White. He pleaded not guilty at first, but changed his tune on May 5th of 2023. He ultimately pleaded guilty to escape. In exchange, the state agreed to drop the murder charge. Mr. Garcia, if that is his real name, found himself in a tough predicament in the early morning hours of September 20th of 2021. He had just crashed his pickup truck after a long night of drinking with his buddy. Officers arrived on the scene to find Mr. Garcia slumped over the wheel. It wasn't long before they realized that the man was drunk off his rocker.
What's your name? What's your name, sir?
A car ran me off the vehicle, boss.
What's that?
A car ran me off the vehicle.
Okay. Do you have an ID with you?
A car ran me off the road, bro.
You have an ID with you, a driver's license?
I do, but the thing is...
Can you step out of the vehicle so I can talk to you more?
He meant to say, "A car ran me off the road." Instead, his drunken mouth spat out, "A car ran me off the vehicle." Mr. Garcia wasn't off to a good start, and it would only go downhill from there. Maybe if he changes his story, the cops will let him go.
Okay, so how much did you have to drink and how long ago?
Well, the thing was, I was drinking by my own time, and my buddy had to get a ride home, and he was driving, bro. But I don't know.
Your friend was driving?
He wrecked my whip, bro.
Who's your friend?
Steve.
Steve what?
Jack, Fat Jack.
Oh, okay.
And he wrecked my whip, bro, and I had to get it out of there, and I was down the right path, you know what I mean?
How much did you drink and how long ago again?
But that wasn't even me, bro.
No, but
this whip.
Okay, but I'm asking you, since since you're the only one here, how much did you drink and how long
What
ago?
I drink?
Yes.
I'll tell you, I drink quite a bit. Yes, sir.
Quite a bit?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But I'll be honest, I'm trying to get home, bro. I'm like, look at this.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up.
Like, if it pissed me off, reason being, it's not even my fault, dude.
Okay, well, we can talk about this here in just a sec, okay?
Our officer eventually asked Mr. Garcia if he'd consent to a field sobriety test. He did, but he said he didn't want to do it on the dirt road, as that would be unfair. So they got in the cruiser and drove around until they found a nice parking lot to use. But on the way, Mr. Garcia tried cutting a deal with our officer.
Hey, boss, please.
What?
Could we do a deal we cannot resist?
A deal?
Yeah.
Are you
sir.
bribing me?
I'll pay you.
Are you bribing me?
No, I'm not bribing you.
Then be quiet.
Well, the thing is...
Because if you're bribing me, you're going to be charged criminally.
Sylvia.
Okay.
For real.
She's not here. You're dealing with me. So if you don't want to be charged and arrested for bribing an officer, then be quiet.
You left, bro.
Okay.
You just passed my house.
All right. Well, we're not going to your house.
Why can't you do me a deal? Leave the truck, Stone. Leave that fucking Stone. Leave me walking from here. Please. I'll pay you.
Mr. Garcia, I suggest you be quiet because the next time you say you'll pay me, you're going to be charged for bribing an officer, and you'll be arrested automatically.
Like that?
Yes, I'm letting you know. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you.
Well, can I smoke a cigarette?
No.
At least the officer was nice enough to warn Mr. Garcia that he dug himself into a deeper hole. They finally find a suitable location to conduct the field sobriety tests. As you can imagine, Mr. Garcia fails miserably. He can't follow the officer's finger with his eyes, walk in a straight line, or stand on one foot. At one point, he turns to the officer and asks, "Can we take a break?" It takes a while, but our officer finally gets Mr. Garcia in handcuffs and brings him to the station. He leaves him alone in a holding room while he draws up some paperwork. That's when Mr. Garcia decides he's not spending the night in jail. He starts fiddling with objects around the room, including the trash can and the railing he's currently cuffed to. Then, it looks like he starts playing with his belt buckle, perhaps trying to use it like a lockpick. A few moments later, he spots something in the corner of the room that he might be able to use to break the handcuffs. By the time the police realized what had happened, Mr. Garcia was long gone. We imagine this officer's boss wasn't too happy when he learned the suspect had escaped. We weren't able to find much information about what happened next. We imagine Garcia was arrested and brought back to jail as police had his wallet, ID, and truck. It's incredible how the human brain works, isn't it? One minute, Mr. Garcia can hardly stand and speak. The next, he's breaking out of jail like Harry Houdini. In August of 2022, New Mexico State police officers spotted a man named Jesus Jimenez, his wife, and their 2 children parked outside an IHOP. They were driving a suspicious-looking truck, one that our officers believed to be stolen. Jesus claimed his wife's car had broken down and a friend let them borrow his truck. But when officers ran the vehicle's VIN, it came back as stolen. They arrested Jesus and brought him back to the station, where he tried to explain his side of the story.
Where did you get the truck at?
One of my buddies lent it to me.
What buddy?
His name's John.
John what?
Martinez.
John Martinez? He's from Albuquerque?
Yeah.
Alright, where's he stay?
Up on the Bajito Mesa.
Where did you get it from? Like what do you know the address?
No, because it's just like the Mesa, really. There's not.
You met him in the Mesa?
Roads. Yeah. Have you ever been back there?
In Albuquerque? There's no Mesa in Albuquerque.
Yeah, there is.
In the city? No.
No, not in the city. Out here in on Cordia Pajarito area in the South Valley.
Okay, and so you guys just were like, hey, let's meet in the Mesa and exchange this truck?
I believe he lives up there. I met him down, there's a little convenience store that's kind of by my house, and I see him all the time. I talk to him. He's a really good friend of mine. And he's like, I know your vehicle's out. There's a truck there that has been sitting there. You could use it if you need to. And I'm like, yeah, I could use it to register the kids to school. And
Did he have the keys for it?
yeah, and there's keys for it.
The ignition's not punched out or anything?
No.
And he just said there's a truck in the Mesa that you can use if you
No,
need?
like it was his, of course, you know, and his property up there. And he's, I have a truck there that you could use. You know, just use it and bring it back when you're done. I said, okay, use it for the day.
And you called him and he told you all this?
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have any like text evidence or anything backing your story?
No, I called him. He don't know how to text, so
Do you have your phone on you?
no, I don't.
Do you know his number?
It's in my phone.
It's a likely story, and one our officer doesn't believe. But everyone is innocent until proven guilty, and the only way to prove Jesus is lying is to call Mr. John Martinez. But Jesus doesn't know John's number off the top of his head. If the officers can grab his phone, he could use it to make the call. After some more back and forth, our officer agrees to put Jesus in a holding cell while he goes and grabs the phone.
What kind of phone is it?
It's just a black Android phone.
Black Droid, bro. That's gonna be this guy's.
Black Droid?
Yeah.
Alright, sounds good. I'll grab it now.
Thank you later. All right, man. Well, we'll see how that works out. In the meantime, we're gonna get you booked, okay? Shouldn't be long, man. If you want to hop up real quick. Go ahead and have a seat in here. Forgot to turn your light on, man, earlier. My bad. Truthfully, I don't even know how to use this. There we go. You want to have a seat, bro?
Here's where things get tricky. According to some sources, the sound you hear in the video is the holding cell door latching shut. It's hard to tell if our officer actually locks it. This is where the body cam footage ends and the CCTV footage begins. That's Jesus standing in the open doorway to the interrogation room we were just in. He stares at the camera, wondering if this is too good to be true. While still in handcuffs, he peeks around the corners to see if the coast is clear. Apparently, he got the miracle he was hoping for, as nobody was around to see him stroll out of the police station. It's game over once he makes it to the door and walks into the hot New Mexican sun. Unfortunately, his miracle didn't last very long. About 4 hours later, officers tracked him down at home.
The cuffs on it?
No.
Where are the cuffs at?
I don't have one, man.
Okay. Let's go this way.
Yeah. All right. Sure. Right side. You would have been out within a few days, dude. That was freaking stupid.
I'm sorry.
Be back inside.
I didn't do nothing.
According to his wife, Jesus called her and said the police had let him go. She got her mom to pick him up and bring him home. Since he wasn't handcuffed anymore, she assumed Jesus was telling the truth. In the end, Jesus was charged with escaping from custody, possession of a stolen vehicle, and driving on a revoked license. According to court records, he was released 2 weeks later and was scheduled to appear for a hearing at the end of September. It's unclear if Jesus ever made it to that hearing. Janesville is a small city in Rock County, Wisconsin, about 75 miles southwest of Milwaukee. It's home to about 65,000 people and one 17-year-old kid who isn't afraid of heights. In October of 2018, the Rock County Sheriff's Office executed a search warrant at the 400 block of West Beloit Street in the neighboring town of Orfordville. They arrested 17-year-old Quantrell Schwartzlow and brought him down to the station for questioning. They assumed Quantrell would do anything to maintain his freedom. They just didn't think he would go this far. CCTV cameras outside the station captured Quantrell running across the lawn moments later. Then, about 14 minutes after his death-defying leap, our officers come back to find an empty room.
Oh, no. F***ing way.
According to reports, it was only a 10-foot drop from the window to the ground. The fall wouldn't have seriously injured Quantrell, but it probably hurt like heck when he landed. In the end, his jump wasn't worth it. Police found him about 3 hours later, hiding at a friend's house. They charged him with escape, which is a Class H felony in Wisconsin. He was also charged with felony strangulation and suffocation stemming from an incident in August of 2018. On March 26th of 2018, 25-year-old Michael Maldonado was arrested after a traffic stop by the Porter County, Indiana Sheriff's Department. Deputies brought him back to the station for what was supposed to be a routine booking. They had no idea that Michael was planning the perfect getaway. He just had to time it right. The garage door opens and the first squad car rolls in. Pay attention to this car as Michael is in the back seat. A second car pulls in and both our officers get out. According to the sheriff's department, they were going to secure their weapons before removing Michael from the squad car. That's why they left him unattended. As the garage door closes, Michael climbs into the driver's seat, pushes open the door, and makes a run for it. He ducks and makes it under the door right before it closes. Our officers chase him, but the door gets too low. One of them goes for the side door, but stops for some reason. Perhaps he's waiting for his partner to grab the canine. Eventually, other officers arrive and run after Michael, who's long gone by then. Fast forward to late Tuesday night. Michael was finally caught in Burns Harbor, a small town on the shores of Lake Michigan. All of this stemmed from a syringe Michael had in his possession when police initially pulled him over. He was also charged with 2 counts of resisting arrest and driving on a suspended license. Eddie Villalobos knew he was going to spend the rest of his life in jail. He was arrested in April of 2021 for taking the life of his mother's boyfriend. Eddie and his girlfriend fled to Wilsonville, Oregon, where they hid in an apartment with 2 friends. Then something happened, and Eddie turned on them with the same knife he used to attack the first victim. Police finally caught Eddie and found enough evidence to prove his guilt. All they had to do now was try him in court, but Eddie had other ideas. During his pre-trial hearing, he bolted from the courtroom, leading police on a wild foot chase through the Washington County Courthouse. We open with 2 Washington County Sheriff's deputies escorting Eddie into the courtroom. His hands and feet are bound by chains, so there's nowhere he can run. At least, not yet. Our deputies take Eddie's restraints off once inside the courtroom, expecting him to sit at the defendant's table. That's when Eddie bolts for the door, leaving our deputies in the dust. They chase him out of the room and down the hall, where Eddie gets a lead after shutting a door in their face. Eddie narrowly bowls over an older woman as he races out the front door. The deputies follow, which is where the footage ends. It sounds like Eddie was able to slip away. According to reports, police relied on drones and dogs to track him down. That's when someone tipped them off to an unoccupied apartment, where they found Eddie hiding under a blanket. In the end, Eddie was found guilty of second-degree murder, 2 counts of first-degree burglary, and attempting to elude a police officer. All told, he was sentenced to life in prison with the chance of parole after the first 25. November 26th of 2022. An Arkansas State Police officer was stationed near the Tennessee border when he observed an orange Camaro speeding down the highway. He turned on his lights and sirens and hit speeds nearing 130 miles per hour to catch the fleeing vehicle. It wasn't long before our officer was hot on the driver's tail, and the chase truly began. The chase grows more dangerous as traffic piles up ahead of the speeding vehicle. The driver weaves between trucks and other cars with little regard for anybody's safety. That's because this suspect is on a mission to escape. Technically, freedom isn't too far away. If you look closely, you can see some tall buildings in the distance. That is Memphis, Tennessee, and our suspect's ticket to freedom. He's pretty sure that if he crosses the border, the Arkansas State Police officer will have to abandon the chase. Let's see if that theory holds water. That Tennessee welcomes you sign was the last thing our officer wanted to see. It forced him to pull off the highway and turn around. You can feel a sense of defeat when he gets back on and drives under the Welcome to Arkansas sign on his way home. From what we can gather, if officers were in hot pursuit of this car, meaning multiple cars and police assets were involved and were right on the suspect's tail, they'd follow over state lines. But since this was one officer and the suspect was pulling away, he decided to end the chase and let Tennessee deal with it. It's unclear if Tennessee police ever caught the orange Camaro. Alonso Perez is a dangerous man. In 2016, the 24-year-old from Las Vegas, Nevada was charged with a series of crimes, including attempted murder, battery, and robbery with the use of a deadly weapon. He was finally arrested and charged with the fatal shooting of 31-year-old Mohammed Robinson. While handcuffed to a table at the North Las Vegas Police Detective Bureau, Alonso decided to test his luck. He knew he'd be going to jail for a long time. Adding an escape charge to his growing rap sheet didn't seem to bother him. That's Alonso sitting alone in the interrogation room. He looks around and notices that the ceiling is made of those push-out panels. If he can get up there, he might be able to crawl his way out of the station. But first, he's got to break those handcuffs. He stands up and puts all his body weight on his wrist. With enough torque, he snaps the metal chain and frees his hand. You can tell it hurts by the way he's gripping his wrist, but a little pain isn't about to stop this violent criminal. He sits for a moment and plays it cool. Then, Alonso positions a chair against the wall. He pushes out the ceiling tile, climbs up, and shimmies through. According to reports, he drops down on the other side into an unoccupied hallway, at which point he walks out the door. Alonso hit another stroke of luck when he found a work truck with its engine running. He hopped in and drove away, and the police were none the wiser. In fact, it took them 40 minutes to realize Alonso was gone, but he wouldn't be free for long. The same FBI task force that arrested him in the first place tracked him down a few days later. He was re-arrested and held at the Clark County Detention Center without bail. In the end, Alonso was found guilty of murdering 3 people. He ultimately pleaded guilty to avoid the death penalty and agreed to spend the rest of his life in jail. Hopefully, that's where he stays. If you enjoyed this video and want to see another just like it, be sure to click the link on screen now. With that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.